Hi, how you
Hey,
doing?
Ben.
Hi, Ben.
How are you?
How you doing?
It's good to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Finally.
Really appreciate y'all having us
Hi,
over.
David.
I'm Dave.
Great to meet you.
Nice
Dave.
to meet you as well, David. How are you?
Great.
Thanks for
Let
having
me
us.
show you around. Oh, you're welcome. This is, I've been waiting to see you guys. I have a lot to show you. In fact, let me show you some stuff right now.
Great.
I know what you're going to need. Hello?
Dave?
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi,
Hi, Ben.
Ben.
Yeah.
Nice to
Nice
meet
to
you.
meet
How
you.
you doing?
Good, great.
Good
Thanks
to
for
see
having
you.
us.
David Roachford. How are you?
David, how are you? My pleasure to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Let me show you around here.
Great.
Hey, before I have something I want to show you real quick before we go any further. This is some of my old stuff from my running days.
Oh my gosh.
Interested in seeing it? Stuff goes all the way back to the 72 trials.
Okay,
I've seen
hold.
them. Hey guys, before we get going, I want to show you a few things. I have some memorabilia here, maybe you'd be interested. It's kind of from back in the day of the running, so just kind of put things in perspective. So these were the days I used to run. There was a marathon race I was in and won twice in a row. And one of my attempts at coming back. And then
You look the same.
Well,
Haven't aged today.
yeah, except there's a lot of gray hair. So this was my second trip back to Nike for the OTC Marathon. This happens to be a snapshot. It's the only one I really have. This was the marathon trials actual race about midway through the race. That was in Eugene. And then I'll show you something really interesting here. You fellas are familiar with Runner's World?
Of course.
Well, these were the early days of Runner's World. They used to put out these supplemental handbooks, for track or women's racing, whatever. This is the marathon handbook of '72, the actual Runner's World publication, and they have all the world best times, women's best times, national best times, and look at this. I'm trying to brag it, but they put that right in there. This was me in Culver City, member of the Mexican national team. This was the fastest race in the United States that year.
Wow.
So that's stuff that you kind of hang on to. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Isn't that interesting?
So cool.
And then here's my last thing I'll show you here real quick. I don't show this to too
Wow,
many
look at
people.
that.
It's kind of gets stuck away. Here's my invitational letter from the U.S. Olympic Committee. You see the envelope's in really good shape. I've really taken care of it. And so this was my first visit to Eugene. Just great memories. Lane assignments. They had like 9 lanes for the marathoners. And this was the, look at how they set this stuff. University of Oregon, the Duck.
Okay.
So
That's
these
so
were the
cool.
top 10. There was the gold medal winner, Frank Shorter, and then a name well known in Oregon, Kenny Moore, and these were the results of the marathon race.
That's awesome.
Isn't that
That's
neat?
amazing. So cool.
So I have something I'd like to show you as well. I know you guys are really interested. I understand and have something to show you in the backyard. You want to go out there?
Great. Can't wait.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay.
We're ready to go.
So let me show you some other photos here just to kind of give you a background here. So this is Mission Bay. This is when I was running for a different track club. I know I look like I'm about 17 years old.
Great picture.
And this is Anaheim Stadium in 1971. Doesn't that sound like a long time ago, 75?
Just yesterday.
Yeah, gosh. And then here's some things I just want to share with you real quick from when at the Olympic trials. And these have I took a disposable camera.
This was in
1972, yeah. So here's the East Stands at Hayward Field. It's gone now, but that was just, it's like the Boston Celtic Parquet
Yeah,
floor,
exactly.
you know? So here's Jim Ryan. You're familiar with that name?
Who's Jim Ryan?
He was at that time the world record holder in the mile.
Don't
First
tell
high
me,
school
tell these
kid
guys.
to break 4
4
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah,
4 minutes, yeah.
in the mile. Had some unfortunate races in the Olympics, but he just dominated. This is John Smith. He was a quarter miler from UCLA. He was on our club. Gold medal winner on the relay. Dave Waddle ran with the hat on, won the gold medal, came from last place and won the gold medal in Munich. And it was really iconic. Went to Bowling Green University, ran with that hat on, gold medal winner.
I think it's so amazing that you've been able to keep all of this history and nostalgia, for all these years. It's just amazing to see, this part of history.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew when you were doing it, thinking about 1972 or Steve Prefontaine or what the sport would become, and you've continued to run over all these years?
Yeah, I have. Periodically, there'd be seasons I'd take off and I'd come back, and then, with some serious training, not a whole lot, I could kind of get right back to where I was. The regret that I have been is that I didn't string together 6, 7, 8, 9 years of unbroken training because my performance would have shown, you know, I've done so much better. But then as you fellas know, life happens. Your family have children, and so training just demands so much of your time. And it's at times it's almost unfair to the family because you got to run double workouts, you got to go to meets. It's like having a daughter who's a gymnast or you know, something like that, and a swimmer, and you're all over the Western United States going to those meets, and it's kind of a commitment.
So were you always passionate about running and long distance running? I mean, was it natural for you, or how did you get into it?
Well, let me tell you an interesting story here. So in high school, you know, I wanted to have a Letterman sweater. You know what that was like? You know, especially back then, Letterman sweater, Letterman jacket. So the word was out, well, you know, you can't play football, of course, and you're not going to play basketball because it's short. So everybody that goes out for track or cross country, you're going to get a letter. So I said, that's what I'll do. I'll go out for cross country. Well, I was so bad because we don't know anything about training. I didn't score enough points. I think you had to have 3 scored points before you got a letter. In fact, when my sophomore year at SAC, when I went to school, I was so far behind, it wouldn't be here.
You can grab it, Ben. Just close that door, yeah, and then we'll go back to right back over here. This is great, by the way. And like, this is so great.
So I was so skinny and scrawny in the school that I went to. I was so far behind everybody. True story, and it really kind of has some really profound meaning at the end. My own school would laugh at me when I would finish running. I mean, they were on the floor just laughing. What are you doing? Thinking you should run track, and it's just horrible. And then I trained. I did not score enough points to get a letter, but they felt sorry for me. So what they gave me was my numerals. It said 65. You know, you have your numerals down here and your letter up there, and whatever emblems you have about the sport you participated in. Well, I trained during the summer with a fellow teammate, which I'd never done. Who ever heard of running off season? All of a sudden I was up with the lead pack or just behind them in my junior year. In my senior year, I wound up going back to my school to compete against them because I had moved. I wound up winning that dual meet, setting course record, and I don't want to sound braggadocio here, but it's just how I look back at how things worked out for me athletically. And then a few years later, making the Olympic standard in '71 to qualify to go participate in the tryouts for the Olympic team, going from that to where you were laughed at off the track to, so amazing. It's like life though, you know, you don't get immediate results all the time, and if you have a commitment to it and you stay true to your course, good, bad, if you're an athlete, you know there's days that aren't so good, and there's days that are really make you feel very exuberant.
Yeah, I mean anything in life, right? Fully commit yourself.
Yes.
You don't give up.
Yes.
And you can't beat someone who doesn't quit.
Yes.
And they can't judge what's inside you. And if you have that passion and that commitment, you know, they're laughing or whatever, they're just reflecting their insecurities.
Yes.
And for you to go out and, you know, without saying a word, and just
Yes.
showing with your actions, that's so inspiring.
I'm gonna tell you something, Ben. Those were just great memories. I remember that the coach I had as a sophomore before I left and went to my school, I was so bad. We do Saturday workouts. I was so far behind everybody in the interval workouts. He called me Tiger, we're gonna let you get going first. So you take off, Tiger. And I would run so I wouldn't be so far behind. And in my senior year when I won that race, he actually came on board of our bus, the other school bus, the competitors bus, walked back and shook my hand and told me, and that meant a lot to me, my coach.
I think they saw a lot of this.
Yeah.
This was the back of you.
Exactly.
Really amazing. Such an inspiring story.
Yeah.
I've never run more than a few miles in one sitting, so preface this. Is it lonely when you're out there on your own? I mean, it's hours on your own.
Well, you know, David, there are times that it's almost that's what you want, you know, because the way things go, it's kind of a time to where you can decompress.
Right.
You know, especially if you're able to run like in Oregon, you know, you can go out not very far away, you're up in the mountains, you know, you're running on Priest Trail, and some of that is exhilarating. Plus on the weekends you get to kind of bump elbows with your buddy, and you have these little competitions in the workout. You encourage one another, you go to one another on to better accomplishments, that's kind of all part of the experience. There are times that when you're out running 40-mile workouts, yeah, it gets a little tedious, but you gotta put that workout in.
So you believe in a runner's high, because I'm still searching.
Yeah,
for
you
mine.
do. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, and you will experience that as you continue to train. There will be times as your body starts to get conditioned and you accept it mentally, and you will experience that.
Very cool.
It is really, you're just at peace, and you can just feel like you can just go forever.
You stay in touch with anybody in any
You
of
know,
the photos?
You know, David, it's really interesting. So this last weekend, we went to a runners reunion in Fullerton, California. And some of these guys these were guys from back at 40, 45 years ago, and they all kind of came together. We'd have and see, there were some people, of course, that aren't around anymore, but there's some people that, in fact, the first Nike guy, one of the first Nike guys that hired me as a rep, Nelson Ferris, he was there. He has the longest history as being employed by Nike.
That's
And he was the
amazing.
international rep, and so it was good to see him after 46 years.
Did he know about your moon shoes?
Yeah, he had heard through another person. I mean, we were kind of laughing and talking and bumping elbows. We were eating peanut butter and whole wheat sandwiches in the back office and playing pickup basketball in the back of the Nike store that's on Pico. And so, but it's just to reminisce. You know, those are good memories.
That's awesome.
Good memories. So.
Well, it's really, I mean, it is so impressive that you've, kept all this memorabilia
Yeah.
and nostalgia. I know it's such an important part of your history, and
Yes,
just to
it
see you
is.
talk about it and that sort of visceral emotion
Yeah.
is just amazing. How did you know to keep this stuff, or even, especially the moon shoes? Most people would have just discarded them.
Well-
What made you keep them and put them away and keep them in such great shape?
Part of them were very memorable. So being from Southern California, going to Eugene, Oregon, which is just, you can't even
Yes.
find a phrase to describe
Spectacular.
the place that Eugene, Oregon had in track and field, not to mention the distance runners, because of Bowerman and his success with
Sure.
his team, and to be there, to actually be a part, to be in the environment where you are looking at the country's best elite athletes, to be in that environment, it's surreal. So, and speaking of the memorabilia, got some shoes you guys probably want to see. Let's go take a look at them. What do you say? Want to do that?
Nice.
Four, three, 2, 1.
The Mission Bay Marathon is a 10-mile mark, all by myself. Runners in front of me and runners in back. Few in front, rest of the lineup is all in the back. This was my bib number from Nike OTC Marathon. Want to put this down as well?
Yeah, go ahead.
Nike OTC Marathon in 1980 was called the Gathering of the Eagles. A lot of the big top performers in the marathon were at this marathon race that Nike put on at the University of Oregon. Kind of retraced the U.S. Olympic trials route.
Okay, good. Go through.
This is a marathon handbook, a supplemental handbook with Runner's World, and they give you a synopsis of everything that went on in marathoning internationally, in the world, women, all-time marks, everything you want to know about marathoning in this book. And the interesting thing is that they took a picture of me, put it on the third page. This was the race that I qualified to go to the Olympic trials. There was a member of Mexico's national team. Mexico sent their own competitive team up here, did very well. This was the fastest race in the whole United States that year, even more so than Boston. And so that's why they put this in the cover, and they chose me. This was my Olympic trials reception letter that let me know they were welcoming and looking forward to us showing up for the Olympic trials. This was the finishing, this were the finals. This is what the final results were of the marathon race. Top 10 runners and the rest of the field. It's been through a lot. Okay, fellas, we're gonna put these on just so we can protect these shoes from any stuff that's on our hands we don't want to transfer over. Believe me, it'll be worth it. Having to put these on actually hold them. So I'll tell you a little bit of story here while we're putting the gloves on. So when we got to Eugene, you went and registered, and they let them know that you were there, and they checked you off. They invited you to go over to the Nike store. Now at that time, Nike wasn't even out the door. It was a kind of well-kept secret. Bill Bowerman was experimenting with them for his athletes, and they were just starting to make these shoes. They hadn't even been in major production. So they let us go over to the Nike store, got to pick our shoes. Well, these shoes right here, these have a very unique place and a very unique history. These are handmade, either by Bill Bowerman or Jeff Hollister. And see how, now you have to think back to 1971. Look at these things. I mean, yes, they're old, but these were a prototype shoe.
Stand by, guys. We just got audio.
Yeah.
You know what, Ben and Dave keep looking at the shoe, and I'll just get a little
Yeah,
cut
that's
away,
great.
like admiring those kicks.
It's insane.
Let us know when you want.
I'm just waiting for this dog to.
I texted Ben yesterday that I almost went for a jog in these just to test them out, see what all the fuss was about in '72.
Wait, so Nike had a store already?
Yes, they had.
So you had the
It was
blue
called the
ribbons?
athletic department, and Jeff Hollister.
So before they had shoes, they had a store?
Well, that's where they directed us to. Yeah, it was called the
Interesting.
athletic department.
That's
And
cool.
you could pick up your T-shirts that were special commemorative shirts, a couple of pair of T-shirts, and your selection of any shoe they made available. And these were the.
That was the only one they had, right?
What's that?
This was the
Oh
only
no,
one.
they had some
other
other
brands?
some trainers. No, they were just Nikes, but they had some other training shoes. These, as you can see, because they're so light and handmade, these are what they call racing flats. Bill Bowerman experimented by pouring this rubber compound onto his wife's waffle maker, taking the finished product and cutting the last to conform to the last of the shoe. And you can see there's two pieces here. There's the dividing line where one piece was made at one time and another at another time, and they put them together like that. You see right there, and that's why we're holding them with gloves on, because we don't want any more dirt or whatever to transfer over. So Jeff Hollister is the one that sewed the swoosh on with fishing line. Yeah, so these didn't even have an insole in them at the time, but you can see these are just tremendous, exotic,
I mean,
specialty
this
shoes.
is the holy grail of
That's
Nike.
what I've heard, man. That's what I've heard.
I mean, it is so insane that you've kept these in such amazing condition.
Yeah.
And just to think about like the history
Yes.
and the narrative around this shoe, like what it's meant to so many people. That this was where it all started. Nike to make 10 or 12 of these shoes. I don't know how many are left in the world. Who knows? That we're getting to sit there and hold them. It's like, I mean, just the whole, commemorating Nike and what it's meant and what it's done. And, I mean,
Exactly.
there's no way to know that Nike was going to be what it was in
That's exactly right.
1972.
You're so right.
And I'm sure this was innovative at the time.
Yes, it was.
Right? And the fact that they've continued to innovate and make change and be the leaders in sports and culture, and then Eugene as the backdrop for all this. I mean, this is really special.
It has its place in history for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
There's been later models of this a year after the Olympic trials. So the neat thing about these is the fact that not knowing how history is going to turn out, I worked out a little bit in these, and I never really raced in them because I wasn't sure that they were going to be. In my opinion, this is more for what we're doing back in the day. They would have indoor track meets where you run on boards, rubberized boards, and they're not going to take the pounding in asphalt or concrete would. And I just held on to them because they were my gift, my memorabilia from being at the Olympic trials, and this was something that I was going to hang on to. I had no idea over 40 years later that there would be this huge interest in these shoes from that era.
So where did you keep them? I mean, how did they, I think about stuff, my mom threw away my baseball cards.
Yes.
And how did you keep those in that condition? And then, how did they not wind up in Salvation Army
Well,
or
let
in a
me tell
move
you.
or something, or,
There
the
was some
garbage?
Yes, there were some athletes that actually were disgruntled with them for didn't actually. They didn't have the results that they expected. Tossed them in the garbage can. Didn't know what was going on. And that's anything that's a prototype. You're going to have little glitches to it. Mine, interesting enough, in my garage in the rafters up next to my Christmas tree lights is a big tall cardboard box that's marked shoes, and that's my earlier Nike shoes, and these happen to be in there. They've been in there I don't know how long, because we got these in '72, this is 2019. And then here came this uproar, you know, that a shoe, Mark Covert's shoe, had sold the very first Nike shoe to cross the finish line. That was the Olympic marathon trials.
That was
So
this,
that-
1972.
This model. There was only 10 of these ever made. And so the discrepancy comes whether Bill Bowerman made these or Jeff Hollister. I would say more like Jeff Hollister. But as history went down the road, then these became, because they were rare, the prototype, handmade, they became valuable.
When did you know that they had some, obviously a sentimental value? When did
Yes.
they know that they had the
Obviously,
economic
yes.
value? You know, like when did you discover that?
Well, I'll
Figure
tell
out-
you, it's interesting you asked that, Ben. So I was like, I have a friend.
Wait,
on-
let me give you just a little adjustment. When did you know, Dave? How did you figure out that these are actually worth something?
Okay, got it.
Well, I have a friend named.
I'll ask you the question.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead then.
So, these were in a bin in your closet. When did you figure out they were actually worth something?
Well, I contacted a friend that's a track, and he has all the memorabilia from all the way back in the '36 Olympics. And I said, "Hey, Mike, I happen to have a pair of those shoes that I see. 2 pair have already been sold. What do you think? I have a pair of those." So he private messaged me back and he says, "Dave, tell you what, let me put you in touch with someone and you can have that discussion with him. He's been involved in the sale of the other ones." And that was Jordan Geller and
Shoes the young guy.
yes.
Awesome.
And then he talked about it, and just the communication with Jordan. Jordan took it to the next level. You know, the respect, the admiration he had for these shoes. He said, "Would you mind if I was involved?" I said, "No." And it's just been just a great time with Jordan and how he facilitated. He was kind of the linchpin because he knew people.
I mean, when he called us
Mm-hmm.
and said, "Would y'all be interested in a moon shoe?"
Yeah.
I almost jumped to the moon. I mean, I didn't know where it was take, but I was going to go there to figure it out and like
Yeah.
to sit here and see it and hold them.
Yeah.
You know, this is the Holy Grail. This is a Honus Wagner, or this is
Exactly right.
you know, the first Andy Warhol
Ty Cobb
piece.
Spikes.
Yeah, the first.
Yes.
You know, the first Superman comic. I mean,
Yes.
this is it. I mean, it's the predecessor to so much history. You know, I know, you know, like for us, I mean, this is the epitome of what we do. You know, our whole business is about storytelling,
Yes.
inviting people, just like you did today. You invited us into your home.
Mhm.
That's how we think about each one of our projects. Is that we're creating a home for people to visit and really reflect the culture and the history and the narrative of each one of these markets. And when you think about Eugene, I mean,
Right.
there's no way to tell that story without Nike, and then to have the holy grail of shoes for, you know, just hundreds and thousands of people to come celebrate. I mean, we don't think of ourselves as owners of anything. We are stewards. Our whole business is about sharing with the community and the people where they live. And to put this on display and for people to come in and understand sort of, you know, where this all started and to where it's gone. I mean, this is a museum piece, right? I mean, this should be shared with the people of Eugene. I mean, this is where they belong. Just like the hotel is, these shoes are such a part of history, and it's an honor, you know, for us to have the opportunity to come here and talk to you and learn about it. This is magic. I mean, this is what we get out of bed in the morning to do, and so
Right.
we're really appreciative of the opportunity.
Well, I'm very humbled to hear that.
So, I mean, the thing that, you know, we really try to do as a company and with Graduate Hotels is just celebrate all the history, all the
Right.
nostalgia,
Right.
all the heartfelt emotion. And you look at these shoes and like, this tells the whole story to me.
Yeah.
Right? Handmade, handcrafted, by people, for athletes.
Yeah.
Like, the whole story of it is just so magical. You know, and for us to sit here and talk to you about it and understand, you know, your history makes that even richer to us and
Right.
part of the narrative. And just, you know, it sparks a conversation. And to think about you having these for 45 years and then us sitting here, like, I just feel like it was totally meant to be for us to connect on this level
Sure.
and have this conversation. And, you know, we're, you know, thinking about these shoes, as David was saying, you know, coming full circle.
Yeah.
It's where it started, and they come home, and Hayward Field is being redeveloped and
Right.
reintroduced in 2020. It's like, it's just I'm
Yeah.
like I'm totally like I'm so grateful for what we get to do, but when it's things like this, it just elevates it to a whole different level.
Ben, that's an interesting point because in 2020 we have the Olympic trials there. There's going to be a lot of people in your hotel and they're going to see these. You know, this truly is one of those aw shucks kind of
For
moments.
sure.
You know, who'd have thought? So.
I have that all the time. You know, like I think about like
Yeah.
someone's gonna like tap me on the shoulder and be like, "Hey man,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
gigs up.
Yeah.
You're going back
Yeah.
to Dayton. Put down the
Yeah.
moon shoes."
Yeah.
But I mean, this is really just such a special piece, and for you to share this with us,
You know,
very
I
grateful.
feel the same way, Ben. And just talking with you and David, you know, I feel like those shoes have now found a new home. And so I would like to have you guys consider making those a part of your history.
100%. I mean, this is what we get out of bed in the morning for.
Good.
To be honest,
Good.
and it's just
That's a good feeling.
this is to share this with everybody.
Right.
In Oregon. I think that's our
How
hotels,
neat.
Graduate
How
Eugene is a
neat.
home,
Yeah.
and for people to come in and reflect, see this, and just what can happen? I mean,
Right.
you think about Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight and Mark Cobra and all these guys.
Yes.
Just throwing on a pair of shoes in 1972.
Right.
Who knew where that would become?
Well, here's a little interesting caveat as well. So, 47 years later, almost to the date, in a couple of weeks, these shoes leave Eugene and now they come back to Eugene. It's like a fitting ending for these shoes.
And I think it is we open the door, obviously our hotel
Right.
guest, and we're actually
Right.
connected to a convention center. So many people, everyone in the city of Eugene, and these students, people, the locals, and then the travelers that are coming in to visit will get to see this and be inspired. I mean that to me, what more can you do, right? Our
Right.
goal as as hospitality professionals is to inspire people with our storytelling narrative and the way that we produce these properties, and this is just such
You've
a huge
made a
part
pretty
of it.
impressive footprint, to say the least.
The moon shoe footprint.
Yes, moonshot.
Yeah, for sure. This is like walking on, and I'm over the moon.
Yeah.
Excited to be holding these.
For
having
me,
this conversation.
that part I alluded to earlier, they left Eugene and now they're back in Eugene. What a fitting resting place for them.
We're honored that you would consider Graduate Eugene as the landing place.
Yeah.
For these, and I'm
Yeah.
just could be more excited with the opportunity.
I enjoy that with you as well.
And having you, what we'd really like, is for you to come to Graduate Eugene, be part of the unveiling, our grand opening,
I would love that. Be humble too. I would love
and
that.
sort of that's awesome.
This is
you would
really
bring your
overwhelming.
family, your
Yes.
anybody, our home is your home,
Thank
is the
you.
city of
Thank you,
Eugene's
Dan.
home, and that would be really spectacular to
Yeah,
have
thank
you
you.
part of that. So thanks.
Everybody I've been involved with has just been so gracious and so kind and just, I just can't even communicate to you. I've just been overwhelmed by all of it. Everybody involved, just so nice and gracious and accommodating. So, Ben, I want to thank you and David for your involvement. I really do. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna try to stick one of those on.
I want to see Dave wear them in the race.
Oh, yeah.
Do another one or a different ending or something.
We're gonna be lost in. I think we wanted to do one where you were kind of like, I'll consider
Yeah.
letting you add them to your collection. He wants just an open-ended,
Yeah. That's
You
a
can act
little
like you don't
difficult.
want. Act like you don't want to.
Well, that's a little difficult. Now that I
If I
really
can
do
get
have
these
to
out.
act because that's not what's happening.
Go for it. Just,
Okay, you
look,
ready?
I'll start off. And I'll
Okay.
get you
Oh,
to
sure.
say, look,
Okay.
and I completely understand if you don't want to part with these. I totally get the sentimental value for
Mhm.
you and your family and the history, and that is 100% understandable. If that's the case, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to meet you and make a new friend, and
Right.
keep us in there. If you ever change your mind, we're around. I 100% appreciate that.
Well, Ben, I feel the same way back to you and David as well. So,
I might put these on and run out of here.
well,
If you decide
That's a
not
big
to,
commitment.
but that's okay. David
I
only
think-
runs.
I think he could run you down.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he'd still run you down.
Yeah, and if you're waffling,
That's great.
what I'd love to do is get
That
you.
is great,
Yeah,
Johnny.
what I'd love to do. I'd love just for you and your family to come see the hotel. This hotel, this property that we all built with our hands. And if you're waffling, would love for you and your family to come see where these would reside. I think you'll see the storytelling aspect, the shoes that we've collected, the sort of arc of Nike, from the Waffle to Cortez to Blazer to Tailwind. We went through and really curated an incredible collection. We have over 200 original Nike posters that tell the story of Nike through the athletes. And then just in the rooms, I mean, just the personal touches. We have a waffle iron with a lamp. We have a Pegasus, which is the goddess of victory, which is where the Nike came from. There's so many pieces, and I think once you see that, you may change your mind. And if you don't, that's fine too. Either way, we're super grateful for the conversation, the opportunity. I would love for you guys to consider that before you make your decision.
Ben, I just am so excited to hear that. And I tell you what, you really piqued my interest. So let me give this some thought. I've heard everything you said. I've liked what you've heard. Let me take some time to give some serious thought about this trip. Well, Ben,
Thanks, Dave.
I'm so glad to have met you today, and you come to
Yeah.
my home, and it's just been a real
Thanks
pleasure
for
getting
having
to know
me.
you.
Yeah, really grateful for the
Yes.
opportunity. Thank you.
David, you as well.
I
This has
really
really
appreciate
been a treat
thank
to
you
get
so
to know
much.
both.
If I put these on right now and run, you think you can catch me? Let's find out.
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You can also move it to like not a TV in the background.
You guys are gonna come out without us. He's just coming out. We're gonna escort him out to shout. Everybody sing, dance, have a good time, have a little liquid courage if it needs to be. And I love your hats.
I know.
You're amazing. You're amazing. You guys are awesome.
So you like to
Puddles in the adventure.
Man, it's just been, who would have thought a day like this after all these years in shoes and the things that have really kind of transpired in the last month or two, but the combination of it, having David and Ben come to my daughter's house, meeting you fellas, everybody involved with the staff here at the Graduate, the big ruckus over the shoes and my part in all of the shoe situation is just, it's a lot to take in. This is going to call for a lot of reflection. Yeah, but it's super neat, super cool. Okay, so Ben and Dave came over, they introduced themselves, and we did the shoot, the photo shoot. What a treat. I mean, these guys are where they are, their station of life, so unpretentious, just so down to earth and engaging, exuberant. I mean, it's almost, what would you say? It's almost infectious. The enthusiasm they had for all of these projects that are finishing or getting ready to take off and get launched. Just, this guy, I'm listening to Ben, and thinking, man, this guy is a go-getter, and he's got a vision, and he's really pursuing it.
So did he drive a hard bargain for getting the shoes from you, or was it not about that?
No, actually, he just brought it to an end real quick, and it wasn't a big deal. I mean, it was so seamless and flawless. It was like just unbelievable that that was his decision to say yay or nay, and it was so easy to say, let's do it.
Cool. How about your trip here? Like, is that
It
kind
was
of
great.
something different? You don't do that every day,
Yeah, it was
right?
great. I haven't actually flown into Eugene for 47 years and 10 days. The shoes left with me when I departed Eugene after trials, and as things would turn out, those shoes come back to Eugene, and this is going to be their home. I mean, you walk in and you're floored by, all of this, the setting, the Graduate, the Nike shoes, the bar, the long table, the lamps, everything that goes into making this this hotel have some character to it. And then you go into the rooms, it's just, there's not a weak spot in here. The staff, everybody, so gracious, so kind, so accommodating. You just don't get that. Yeah, it was neat. It really was neat.
Did you get a chance to look at the other sneakers that they had the collection of out there?
Briefly, because things were so busy and had to get accomplished in a certain time frame. I did see them. I recognized some of the shoes that I ran in, 50 years ago. So those brought back memories. Those have their place in time in sports history.
So they're in, your shoes are in good company. Could you say that for me or something like that?
Yes. I could say that. I could say that I have peace of mind to know that somebody would desire those shoes to be here in this setting with such a strong Nike theme that it was desirous of those shoes to be here, to kind of be what they are, kind of like the rare shoe. Yes, now my old shoes do have a bunch of new friends, and they're going to all rest and enjoy themselves, so to speak. They're in a good spot. They really are. For Nike enthusiasts and for people that trained and raced back in the day, they're going to come through here, and there's going to be some nostalgia.
One more thing. What do you think about? What does that say to you? The fact that Ben went to kind of the ends of the earth to find you, find those shoes, and appeal to you to bring them in. What does that say? You think about the hotel?
I'm incredulous. That's the word I would use. I've told my daughter. I've told Jordy. I said, "Who does this?" And to go out to maybe the extremes to make all of this culminate in this day, in this time, for this hotel with the Nike theme and those moon shoes. My name is Dave Russell. I ran in the 1972 Olympic trials in July, and I was a participant here in the marathon, and I went away with a wonderful pair of shoes, and I get to bring them back here as well.
How was that? You want another one?
No, I don't. Want to move on.
Good? Yeah, that's cool.
Great. One more time. And go. Great. And go. And green. And turn off green. There you go.
I'll take that.
Okay, cool. Are you calling it?
young innovators in the city of Eugene, Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight, who absolutely deserve applause for helping us be here today and be who we are. And at that time in 1972, Dave was the recipient of a very special pair of shoes that are very special to Nike's history, that's very special to the city of Eugene. And with Dave's help and AJ Capital's help, we've been allowed to return those shoes to Eugene tonight. These shoes will be retired here in the hotel. They will remain in this case and they will be on display for everyone who comes to the Olympic trials next year and every year after, and the World Finals in 2021. So again, thank you all for being here tonight. The party is not over. It's very special to